now. And what we're starting to see is data on just how catastrophic the entire 2 years of restrictions are on children who bore the highest burden of restrictions, even though they're the absolute lowest risk. And some of that data is now showing that kids are not able to hit a basic vocabulary milestone in speech development, that is a 50-word vocabulary by age 2. So the CDC is quietly moving to say they have an extra half year to hit that speech milestone. It's ironic that they're acknowledging this quietly. At the same time, they insist that every kid 2 years and above continue to wear masks today in the United States, regardless of any other factor.
Yeah. And in Europe and all many other countries, kids were never wearing masks the way they were here in America. I'll tell you, just as from a personal point of view, my daughter, who has Downs, went to speech therapy, and the poor therapist, it wasn't her fault, was wearing a mask. I'm like, she has Down syndrome, and she's, struggling to take the speech therapy class, and, you're wearing a mask. It makes no sense. Of course, she was having to follow the regulations, and I felt like I was wasting my baby's time, my time, the speech pathologist's time. But speech pathologists have been telling us this for a long time. You've also been talking, Dr. McCary, about the psychological impact on children. You've been one of the ones to come out very early and say that lots of doctors have told you they're worried about the same thing, but they're afraid to say it out loud. Why are doctors afraid to talk about what masks have done to kids psychologically?
Well, look, there's a lot of bullying and intimidation. I talk to doctors who have been threatened by their own department chairs or hospitals or communications offices for saying anything that could go against this mask every child in perpetuity message that we're living under. And you're right, we are an international outlier. The WHO is not neutral on masks in kids. They're against masks in kids under 6, and they say we should be very careful in kids 6 through 12 because of what they describe as the psychosocial impact. The European CDC tells people not to wear masks in primary school. And so we are an international outlier today, still putting masks on kids, insisting they cover their faces. And public health officials need to stop seeing kids as vectors. They are not vectors. They are human beings that need to hit developmental milestone, and they need to make the human connection.
Amen to that. Dr. McCary, one of the things I've been most disappointed with during this pandemic has been the cowardice of so many people in the medical community, especially doctors who knew better from very early on. You are not a coward. You've been very brave, and we thank you for that.
Thanks, Rachel.